What up, Hope?
They got married. I waited till you said it. I waited till you introed the video. They got married. I read it in the thing.
Can I finish?
Yeah.
What up, Hobie Skits? It's your girl Skitten.
And she picked out the topic for her husband, and it's so cute. And now we're husband and wife. Gonna watch the husband make the video for the wife, and they're married. That's great. Go ahead. There's your intro.
So today we're watching Overly Sarcastic Productions, and it looks like Blue and Cyan finally got married.
Uh-huh.
So.
Oh, really? I didn't know that. That's so cool.
We were looking in the description of this video just to kind of see like what we were into.
I saw it first before my wife did.
No, I saw it first. I told you.
And then I got to talk about it before my wife talked about it.
And my husband is very excited about this. He's super happy.
I like when husband and wives, it's like we're doing a husband and wife collab.
It's like a double date.
It's like an internet double date, right? Welcome to the Date Cafe. I will be your server today. I'm mad obnoxious. I like dad jokes. I'll laugh at all of them legitimately. This is my sous chef, Skitten. And she will be the cook because I'm also the chef. I'm the chef and the...
Wait. You like dad jokes, right?
Yeah.
Okay, you ready?
Yeah, okay, do it.
What do you...
Stop laughing. You can't laugh and tell the joke at the same time. It's got to be one or the other. Here we go.
What do you call someone who's responsible for taking care of chickens?
Farmer.
Chicken tender.
That's good. That's a good one. Chicken tenders. All right. So you're having the fucking chicken tenders for dinner. All right, let's do this. We're going to get this internet double date going.
I hope you guys are doing well. I hope you guys are staying safe and sanitized.
Right.
Title of this video is Antique Antics, the Doge's Palace. Without further ado, let's go ahead and get started.
The only thing I know about the Doge's Palace is that I failed it in the section of architecture in an art class. You had to identify the type of arches used. And that was one of the examples.
Right.
And I could not do that.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry to hear that.
By the time this video is posted, I am a married man. I could not be more thrilled. Having gotten engaged to my darling love, Cyan, in March of 2020, we have had quite the unusual engagement in a coordinated worldwide cosplay of 1300s Florence, but we're married now.
Nice.
And to continue the festivities, I wanted to dedicate this video to my wife.
Wife!
To your what? To your what?
Wife!
To your whom?
What? Do you guys remember how obnoxious we were when we got married? I hope they are the same way. God,
I really do.
I don't think anybody can be more unbearable than we are, though.
We were pretty gross.
Yeah.
Amazing. So I did the most quintessentially me thing imaginable and gave the woman a research project. Gets cute in a second, I swear. I told her she could choose any place or piece of architecture on Earth, and I'd make a video about it. Now, Cyan is no slouch at international travel, and strictly speaking, she's been to more European countries than I have. So just counting the places she's seen herself, there's a respectable assortment to choose from. And yet, her selection caught me entirely off guard. See, as part of a family trip a few years back to visit London, Paris, and Rome, they added a brief little stopover in Venice. So she got to see the Rialto Bridge, St. Mark's Basilica, and the gates of the Arsenale, but time was short, and the one that got away was the Doge's Palace. And in a twist I truly never could have seen coming, she asked that I devote this special wedding video to Venice. She, for real, asked me to do this, unprompted.
We know. What? We know that Venice is your favorite city, Blue. We know. She did this for you.
Yeah.
She did this.
That's
your
a good
wife.
Your
wife.
She's a keeper, I think. You should marry her. You already did that.
Oh my God, we're going to be so disgusting. We're going to be worse than he is. This is great.
I know none of you are surprised, but I sure as hell was. But in any case, here we are. A gift to my one love, wherein I talk about my other love. Those are her words, not mine. So, to better appreciate the Doge's Palace, let's do some architecture. Situated in what might be one of the most historically and artistically significant city blocks in all of Europe, this palace was the nerve center of a republic that lasted for over 1,000 straight years and stretched from the northern Italian mainland all the way across the islands of the eastern Mediterranean. Since the founding of the city in the early medieval period to its conquest by Napoleon in 1797, Venice has been a special case in world history, both politically and artistically.
Yeah.
La Serenissima Repubblica di Venezia enjoyed 1,100 years, more than 1,100 years, of independence and government as a republic. Surrounded by diverse cultures on all sides, Venice drew its inspiration from all over the Mediterranean while retaining a distinct Venetian identity.
I like that with the H, yep.
While.
Yep, perfection.
With his wife.
My wife.
Artistically. I have said much more about that on many other occasions, so I will now exercise saint-like restraint by focusing on the topic at hand. Now, at the very beginning of Venice wasn't exactly Venice. The first real city in the lagoon was the island of Torcello, and in the mid to late 700s, the Republic's government was run from the island of Malamocco. But after the island was nearly captured in a double invasion by Byzantines and Franks, long story, the Duke, or Doge, relocated the government to inside the lagoon on the islands of Riva Alta, where he built himself a castle that he dearly hoped would be siege-proof. Aesthetics were distinctly not a priority here, and this original fortress was similar in look and feel to a Byzantine castle. White and pink stone walls, crenellations, big ol' moat on all four sides, sturdy as can be, quite literally good enough for government work because in addition to being the Doge's residence, the fortress held public offices, the courts, prisons, and armories. Because really, why bother defending the Republic if you don't have cool-ass swords? As centuries passed and Venice became one of the premier merchant republics in the Mediterranean, the Doges decided it was appropriate to fancy up the place and turn their castello into more of a palazzo. So in the 1170s, Doge Ziani renovated the palace with new upper-level floors, colonnaded walls, two fun pointy towers on the waterfront side, and some nice little walkways between the lagoon and the palace, as well as between the palace and the newly built St. Mark's Basilica. The Doge's personal apartments were in the east wing by the canal, the courts and library were on the west side by the piazza, and most of the government offices were in the south wing facing the waterfront. The core structure was the same as it had been, and they honestly do look pretty similar, but these renovations signaled a significant change in tone. The first building was a fortress meant to protect the government from everyone else on Earth, while this building was a statement. Heck, it was a taunt. At a time when fancy Gothic architecture was on churches only and royal castles were for safety rather than scenery, this was a secular palace dressed up with all the frills hanging out right on the edge of the water in full view of the world, confident in the knowledge that their enemies couldn't do a damn thing about it.
I mean, you failed.
Gothic arches. Yeah. Long, big, elongated arches. And also the way that they put those little points at the rooftop, they then adorn them with little different fixtures for like all the buildings and stuff.
That's cool.
And they honestly are just flexing on everybody because it became the standard for, you know, like any kind of courthouse or something like that.
Right.
Yeah.
Medieval history, that is about the closest you can get to declaring yourself immortal. And as the next several centuries show, yeah, they kind of were. So, naturally, over the next few centuries, Venice made it even prettier. At the turn of the 1300s, the Great Council cemented its roster to a set.
In 1297, the Serrata del Maggior Consiglio, I know I'm fucking up that pronunciation, don't judge me. I don't know if I have any Italian fans, but I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Began restricting government membership to a select list of noble families, essentially making the Republic a hereditary system. However, the word serrata or lockout is slightly misleading, as the Republic nearly doubled the ranks of the Great Council during this 2-decade process by adding more noble family members to the council. I'm sorry, just like flew in front of my face.
This thing has been like in front of my face. The second you started talking, I was like, I want to kill it so bad. Please continue. Did you get it? Oh, wow. Please don't rub it on me. Oh, my God. I'll get you a napkin. All right, let's do it.
Made it even prettier. At the turn of the 1300s, the Great Council cemented its roster to a set list of noble families whose adult men could serve in the big assemblies and do all that cool Republic stuff. But these reforms meant the Maggior Concilio gained hundreds of new members in a short span of time.
Jesus.
So in 1340, Doge Gradenigo expanded the south wing to fit a bigger council chamber, and this is where the palace starts taking a shape we'll recognize. A double colonnade of pointy Gothic arches and the upper half decorated with a fun white and pink marble pattern. A century later, Doge Foscari expanded the west wing of the palace with the exact same style, so it's got continuity. Looks nice. While he was at it, he built the very Gothic Porta della Carta to lead from the piazza into the courtyard, and the other end of that tunnel got covered in a fancy triumphal arch in the 1480s, just in time for the entire eastern wing of the palace to burn down in 1483. This will become something of a trend. Work soon began on covering the Doge's surprise open-air bedroom with a replacement east wing built in the Renaissance's hottest new style, Neoclassical. Up until now, Venetian Gothic architecture was all about pointed arches, those little quatrefoil guys, and the brave inclusion of one accent color in addition to white, in this case pink. The pitch for Neoclassical was basically white marble only, make it look Roman. Unclear whether these looks would play nice or not. Internal debate on aesthetics got sidelined in 1498 when lead architect Antonio Rizzo was found guilty of embezzling funds from the construction budget and ran away. With the building not even half done, Pietro Lombardo was appointed to reassess the project. He had the good manners to not commit budget fraud, but his updated design was far more expensive than Rizzo's original proposal. So as far as the Republic's finance office was concerned, they broke even. Construction on the Neoclassical wing finally wrapped at the turn of the 1600s with the infamous Bridge of Sighs, where prisoners would cross from holding cells in the palace and take their last look at Venice before moving across the canal to the surprisingly spiffy-looking prison. Soon after, the other 2.5 facades of the courtyard were partly redone to match the look of the big fancy Neoclassical side, with a comparatively understated but incredibly elegant 2-story colonnade. And it might not look like much, but this is actually pretty galaxy-brained. They take the idea of the classical orders, where columns start simple and get fancier as they go up, and they apply that to arches. So the ground level has fully rounded arches, classic Rome style, but the second floor has pointed arches, Venetian Gothic style. And it's so simple, but it's genius, taking the very classical idea of go higher, get fancier, and applying it to arches while honoring the city's Gothic roots by putting the pointy bits on top. Even when Venice was going full Neoclassical, it was still Venetian Gothic. I find that very cool in an abstract sense, but it also looks so nice. The pale marble plays with the shadows in the arches, and that contrast of black and white is clean. The shapes are strong, the details blend in, it's not anymore.
It doesn't look last minute, it doesn't look like an add-on, it literally blends super seamlessly. Yeah. I really like that. I like that. I definitely thought it was going to look kind of crazy, kind of sloppy, you know?
I mean, one of the things that you can tell why, like, it's so pleasing to the eye. Yeah. Think about all the art that you see from this, you know, kind of like Renaissance, Gothic era of architecture rather than like timeline. And your eyes will look at these weird angles where they're always looking down a street or up to a ceiling. They're playing with those perspectives. But it's because the actual architecture is meant to be looked at that way. That's how people experienced the world around them. And it's become immensely popular. Just making Western culture seem very insignificant by comparison. Boring. The colonial home?
Split levels?
Oh my God.
More complicated than it needs to be. This right here is my favorite part of the whole damn palace. Now, between crime boy Rizzo, fancy man Lombardo, and colonnade extender Bartolomeo Manopola, it's unclear who exactly had this bright idea. But after staring at the walls for a good couple hours and trudging through an Italian-only Wikipedia page for Manopola I had to translate myself, I'm inclined to say that Lombardo had the vision.
Okay, flex.
And that's why he's married.
Okay, like, oh, I just had to translate this Italian thing by myself.
He's probably writing that, like, or speaking it, crying about how hard it was. And then we're watching it like, okay, God. Okay. He's like, and I'm married. If you're single, that's what you got to do. Learn a whole nother language, start translating text, you'll get a wife.
And Manopola saw it through. That's not relevant to the history, but the question was really bothering me, so I needed you to know. The last changes to the exterior came after a fire in the south and east wings in 1577, and famed neoclassical architect Andrea Palladio suggested they tear down the entire thing and redo it. Now, this is the only time you will hear me say this. Thank God nobody listened to Palladio. They redid it as it was, instead indulging their extravagant whims on the inside of the palace. As a result of distressingly extremely frequent fires, the interior is made of work from the 15 and 1600s when blindingly golden Baroque was the trend du jour. It's shiny, splendid, and way too complicated. With so much going on, the rooms quickly become disorienting. But if you zoom into individual works, the interior of the Doge's palace contains some of the best art you'll find anywhere in Europe, with masterpieces from the most celebrated artists in Venetian history. And subtlety was not their goal. When you hang a 22 by 7 meter Tintoretto painting called Paradiso on the back wall of the Grand Council room, right below a depiction of Venice becoming a literal god, the point is abundantly clear. And all this fans had a political dimension too, wowing foreign diplomats who came to do business with Venice. The Doge's apartments are an extraordinary showcase of power and wealth, leading visitors up a gold staircase and through a shield hall, a map room, and my personal favorite, the Scarlet Room, which is not painted scarlet, but is apparently called that because the Doge's counselors wore scarlet robes when they hung out in there. This alone makes this the best palace in the world because, to my knowledge, it is the only palace with a room purpose-built for matching pajama parties.
And remember when you see those movies, you see those guys in those big red rooms, in big red robes or whatever. That's literally what it's about. Yeah.
His Highness the King of England requests an audience with the Doge, but first wishes for a cup of hot cocoa and your most ginormous pillow, that His Highness may take up arms against the King of France, to bap him in his annoying face and mess up his prissy boy hair. An encounter, I would imagine, has happened at least twice.
Absolutely.
In addition to the Doge's apartments, the palace housed every conceivable function of the state. The Great Council, the Senate, the Council of Ten, the Doge's cabinet, the voting hall, the courts, foreign affairs offices, Navy command centers. It was the entire governing machinery of the Republic. Sure, it's called the Doge's palace because he lived there, but in function, this was the palace of the Republic. Another beautiful twist of Venetian history that is a contradiction, but also makes total sense. And I just love this place because it's so completely Venetian in every aspect of its character. The building's history is intrinsically bound to the story of the Republic as a whole, politically, artistically, and by conspicuous omission, militarily. And one of the most famous churches in world history, St. Mark's Basilica, is right there.
Literally
I've only mentioned it twice this whole time, and it's in the background of half the pictures I've been showing you. It may as well be the north wing of the palace. So, all of that to say, happy wedding to my darling wife, Cyan. I cannot wait to take you there one day. Thank you so much for watching. Now you...
Nice.
His wife
wanted that.
His wife.
Real quick.
Yeah.
Everyone thinks, they hear like Jean-Jacques Rousseau, right? They read all these great philosophers and all that, blah, blah, blah. In their critiques of a lot of things, but like during these wars and stuff, they're wondering why the people are so, critical and separated from the government. And you look at like what people lived in and then where they did business. And you're just like, this is what we're talking about. Which is why we made like a jab at the United States architecture. But the point of those colonial homes and things like that was to represent kind of the evenness between our military, our government, and our community.
Right.
We're all coming at this from the exact same angle.
Absolutely.
And trying to get as far away from that gaudiness as possible, because no matter how much we had all these great leaders and great philosophical ideas coming from those, places from the top, they were always super far separated from the community. Because just how can you look at that stuff every single day and look at this architecture, super well thought out.
Exactly.
And walk through this arch onto the street of just crap and not judge the hell out of it. You know? So, anyways, they're married. That's also the next step.
That's so cute.
Yeah.
I'm so excited. I'm so excited about the fact that they're married now.
Yeah.
Which is none of my business, but it's just so exciting.
At all.
It's so exciting. These past couple of years have been so hard. Mm-hmm. They have been so hard. And so many people have had to not have their weddings, postpone their weddings, had their weddings, and then people got sick. Yeah. We were really lucky. We were actually just super lucky that we decided to get married in 2019.
We got married right before everything went.
We almost pushed the wedding out because our families wanted to invite more people and we weren't sure about the location.
We wanted them to invite more people. Also, at one point, when they convinced us to not elope, we thought, dang, maybe they should be invited. And we're almost in one knee-jerk reaction. We almost stopped looking because we were trying to move at the same time, plan a wedding. It became really stressful. and we decided to do it all at once because we're insane, and it worked out.
So we just decided to do it, but we were actually just super fortunate.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? And so I'm just so happy that they've managed to get some joy out of this, you know? Getting engaged in March 2020, that is, you know? But like they did it. They pulled it off. It's amazing. I'm so excited. This video was actually really interesting.
Is it now?
I really enjoyed like
Because
the history of the architecture.
Yeah, that's literally just like one slice of the entire area. There's plenty to talk about. And like also when they talk about now, it's a bunch of fires obviously burning down really expensive and hard to make things. So there's a whole other side about the architecture now, how the sewage systems were kind of like redesigned so we can get, you know, firefighters. Like they planned all this kind of stuff. They didn't plan putting out fires, even though they kept having them. You know, but you can't just change how the water is directed in your city state just
on a whim.
On a whim.
Yeah.
So it changed city planning actually was based on these kind of fires. So super interesting.
That it is. It's actually like really fascinating.
Yeah.
I hope you guys enjoyed the video.
Or you didn't, and you're evil.
Don't forget to leave your reaction requests and recommendations down in the comments below. Congrats again, Blue and Cyan. And other than that,
They're never gonna see this.
peace out, Ho Biscuits. It's Skittin' Lit.